Hi again then guys, and welcome to another look back to the relatively recent past of Gran Turismo GT6 again, and this time we're looking at another specific rally car, but another fictional rally car like the Mitsubishi Tarmac and a couple of others, where it's clearly inspired by real-world vehicles, but it itself is technically not a real rally car, and the car in question is of course the Mitsubishi Evo X rally car. Now, the great thing about these fictional rally cars is on some occasions, at least, such as with this one and also one of the Subaru versions as well, the fictional cars are quite often a lot cheaper than many of the official cars. Some of the rally cars cost around 1 million credits, give or take, whereas these ones, they cost more like 200 grand or less. Now, in the case of this Evo, it's a little bit more expensive than its main rival, which is of course the fictional Subaru Impreza, but it's still under 200 grand. It's a 192,000 credit car. Now, for that, you get what we could assume is probably a 2-litre turbo 4-pot, of course, all-wheel drive, and in its fully tuned form, you're looking at over 580 horsepower and 465 foot-pounds of torque. So it's not exactly a Pikes Peak level machine, but it's certainly very impressive. And in fact, it can quite easily match some of the Group B rally cars in Gran Turismo Sport, for example. Now, the weight is 1,115 kilos, so again, it's not going to blow your mind, but it's a lot lighter than a WRC car of the time, for instance, around 100 kilos less, give or take. And consequently, the horsepower per tonne is 524, which is actually not far off the horsepower per tonne of a Veyron, which is quite a lot more powerful than this car, so that's pretty good. Now, as far as the fully tuned level that this car can hit, it's 579 pp points. That's not bad, actually. It could easily be a lot higher than that. So what does it actually perform like? Because some rally cars are definitely better left on the dirt. Some are really good on the road and maybe not as competitive on the dirt, for instance some of the rear-wheel drive ones like the Stratos or the 240 RS, and some of course are just great at both, like the Escudo, for instance, a long-standing fan favourite, and for good reason. It's a really good car. Now, with this one, I would definitely say actually it's great for both. It has a very Gymkhana style feel when you drive it on the street, especially if you give it a drift setup and take it around, say, Monaco, for instance. But on the dirt, it definitely feels like an authentic WRC style machine, for sure. And it's a great rival. In fact, I would say an even better rival than the Subaru is, funnily enough, for the actual WRC cars. And one of the reasons why is the kind of visual setup that the car has. Not in terms of whether it looks good or not, but in terms of the actual body modifications. It is a wide-bodied car, just like those WRC machines are, whereas the Subaru, perhaps surprisingly, is quite a lot more understated. It's basically just the normal-looking Subaru for the most part, with a very, very modest body kit. Whereas this one, it's wider, it's chunkier, it gives it the effect of having a lower centre of gravity, and it makes it a lot more planted through corners. And of course that is irrelevant of whether you're on the tarmac, on the snow, on ice, or on dirt. Now, I would say this is actually one of the best examples of a rally car in the game, and the reason why is the value. It's such a good car in terms of spec across the board, as I already said. It's at least as powerful as many of the actual WRC cars when they're tuned, similar level when stock as well. The weight is much lower, which of course you cannot drop on a WRC car, and the pricing is so much lower. So if you are looking for instance, a more of a budget approach to rally racing, which is a precedented thing in real life for sure, something like the Daihatsu Storia Cross 4, for instance, it's very literally a base model rally car. It was designed with the express intent of manufacturers or private teams buying that car and turning it into their own privateer rally machine. This has that vibe. The fact that it doesn't have the livery, it's just a paintable base car in effect, it gives it an interesting privateer kind of vibe. So if you're that kind of rally driver, if you are an enthusiast for that kind of thing, then you'll probably enjoy this car. It's rallying on a budget, but just like the Daihatsu, it gives you a whole lot of bang for buck. I would say that this is a great all-round example of a rally car. It's kind of been spiritually succeeded by a newer Evo rally car in Gran Turismo Sport, But this one definitely had the feeling of being, in effect, the ultimate Evo rally car in GT6, because although it technically was not the fastest, that's actually the older Evo 6, which is the most powerful, one of the very few rally cars, in fact, that can go over 600 horsepower, this one still felt like almost the ultimate incarnation, because it had the modern vibe, low weight, great power, and above all, a great price, which, as I already said, a lot of the other real rally cars definitely can't match. You can buy the equivalent of about 3 or 4 of these for the price of many of the other rally cars in the game. So it's certainly worth checking out, and of course if you do use it, I hope you have a lot of fun with it. But that's it for this pick overall. Of course, I'll see you guys next time, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.